Good evening, everyone. This is June 24th, 2026. Welcome to this meeting of the Bismarck's Planning and Zoning Commission. With that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Bittner. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Schell.
Here.
Schmitz. Sivak.
Here.
Swanson.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Oh, that's
Oh no.
Wangler. And Chair Schwartz.
Here. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the first item in our agenda is approval of meeting minutes from the May 27th meeting. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Swanson,
Second.
a second from Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Schell.
Yes.
Sivak.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
And Chair Schwartz.
Yes, motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to the public comment section of our meeting this evening. And we are limited to items on the meeting's consent agenda or the previous Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And we have none on the consent agenda this evening, so it would be last month's meeting. I will open up the public comment period. Is there anyone that would care to step forward and speak? Second call. Third and final call. With that, I'm going to close the public comment period. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and there is no consent agenda this evening, so we will move on to our regular agenda. And the first item on our regular agenda is Northern Sky, second edition, Block 2, and Lauren is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Good evening, Chairman Schwartz and Commissioners. Wilmot Development LLC is requesting approval of an annexation on all of Block 2 Northern Sky, second edition, first replat. The project area is in Northwest Bismarck, in the northwest corner of North Washington Street and Ashcooley Drive, on the north side of Wilkinson Place, and it contains 146,111 square feet. The property has been identified as community mixed use in the future land use plan, and adjacent uses include a mix of office, institutional, and commercial properties. The current annexation request is only for Block 2. The other lots within that subdivision will be annexed when the development of the properties occur by February 25th, 2030, per a development agreement between the city and the current property owner. Annexations do not have a public hearing before this commission. Notification requirements will be met before it's heard by the city commission, including notification to the township and Burleigh County. To my knowledge, staff have not received any formal comments regarding this request at this time. The request was evaluated according to standards contained in the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law. The annexation request does trigger the held in abeyance costs for regional stormwater improvements and the construction of North Washington Street. Those held in abeyance costs associated with Block 2 will be allocated to the parcels being annexed based on their proportionate area the year following the annexation being completed. As a result of the findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed annexation will not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law. As a result of those findings contained within that staff report, staff recommends approval of the annexation of all of Block 2 Northern Sky, second edition, first replat. Do you have any questions?
Commissioners, questions for Lauren? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Lauren. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, Commissioners, this is final consideration for this agenda item. So staff's recommendation is to approve. What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Sivak. Commissioners, any additional discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Taylor.
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Seabock,
Yes.
and Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item B on our regular agenda, which is DCN First Edition. And I believe Jenny is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Schwartz. Commissioners, DCN LLC requests approval of a zoning map amendment and major subdivision final plat titled DCN Edition. The request is located in north central Bismarck, north of East Calgary Avenue, between North Washington Street and State Street, in the southwest quadrant of the intersection of Coleman Street and 43rd Avenue Northeast. It consists of 12.25 acres with one lot and one block. The Land Development Code and official map were recently approved. As such, the zoning ordinance for the proposed zoning map will reflect the new zoning district equivalents outlined in our LDC. The zoning map amendment would be from the A agricultural zoning district and the RT residential zoning district to the OX office mixed use. This replaces the RT residential district. The property has been identified as a neighborhood mixed use in our land use plan. The proposed zoning districts would conform to the character of this neighborhood mixed use district. Adjacent land uses include an existing single-family dwelling and undeveloped land to the north across 43rd Avenue Northeast, developing medical uses to the east, across Coleman Street, multifamily residential to the south, and a medical use to the west. You considered this request at your meeting on April 22nd and called for a public hearing. A notice was published in the Tribune on June 11th and 18th, and 71 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on June 12th. A sign providing information was also placed on the property on a publicly accessible spot on June 8th. Staff did receive 2 inquiries regarding this request. Concerns were made regarding the condition of surrounding streets and the possibility of constructing a roundabout. In conjunction with this plat, staff did know that this request is to facilitate the combination of the parcel to the west that's currently vacant. There used to be a single-family home here years ago with the existing property. There will not be a roundabout constructed in conjunction with this plat. The proposed zoning map amendment and major subdivision final plat were evaluated according to standards contained within the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and state law. And as a result of all the findings contained in the staff report, staff find that the proposed plat would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare and is consistent with our comprehensive plan, Code of Ordinances, and state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the A agriculture and RT residential zoning districts to the RT residential zoning district, which will be our OX office mixed use district, and approval of a major subdivision final plat for DCN edition. Do you have questions?
Commissioners, questions for Jenny? Jenny, is there a plan to build something on this lot, or is it just being made part of the whole up there at DCN?
Chairman Schwartz, Commissioners, I do believe the applicant's consultant is here and can speak further on this. I don't know if there's an immediate plan, but there may be an opportunity to build another building to support their uses in the future.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, additional questions? I'm not seeing your
Thank
hand,
you.
Jenny, thank you. With that, this is a public hearing for this agenda item. So I will open up the public hearing at this time. Is either the requester or a representative available to speak to it? Sir, if you would add your name to the log up there and introduce yourself, it would be wonderful.
Certainly. Chair Schwartz, Commissioners, I'm Brad Krogstad. I work for KLJ Engineering. I'm the consultant hired by DCN to facilitate this plat and zone change, and I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Commissioners, questions? I'll pose mine again then. Is there a plan to build on this, or is it just going to be part of the whole DCN property there?
Yeah, Chair Schwartz, Commissioners, there's definitely a plan to build someday. There's no immediate plans right now, at least none that I've seen or know of. As far as ideas, you know, they may do something to add on to their existing building. They may just have something as simple as an outdoor storage shed. But they wanted to take care of the formalities of getting the zone change done now and it platted in case they do have that opportunity in the future to do something with that property.
I understand, thank you. Commissioners, additional questions? Brad, I'm not seeing or hearing any. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And I am not seeing or hearing anybody running towards the podium. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing on this agenda item. Jenny, any final comments?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, this is a request for a zoning map amendment and a major subdivision final plat. Both are recommended approval by staff. What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Swanson
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Seevack. Any additional discussion, commissioners? And I'm not hearing or seeing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Shell,
Yes.
Seevack,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item C in our regular agenda, Berg Acres Edition. And once again, Jenny will provide us with staff report this evening.
Chair Schwartz, Commissioners, Stephanie Sheets and Dennis Berg are requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from the A Agriculture and CG Commercial Zoning Districts to the CG Commercial Zoning District and major subdivision final plat titled Berg Acres Edition. The proposed plat and zoning map amendment are being requested to facilitate an event facility on Lot 2 of the proposed plat. There is an existing single-family dwelling on Lot 1, which will remain and may be converted to a bridal suite in the future. This property is located within city limits, East Bismarck, between 52nd Street and 66th Street, along the south side of East Main Avenue. It consists of 6.99 acres with 2 lots and 1 block. Again, the Land Development Code and map were recently approved. As such, the ordinance contains the new zoning equivalents. In this case, it would be A Agriculture and CG Commercial or CX Commercial to the full CG Commercial Zoning District. Last night, the City Commission approved an assumption agreement and water service contract amendment with the City of Lincoln to formally transfer the ownership of the water line in East Main Avenue and 66th Street to the City of Bismarck. The proposed subdivision and future event center can now be served by municipal or city water. The condition of approval outlined in the staff report pertaining to the water line is no longer necessary. The property does not have access to public sanitary sewer services. City staff have determined that a private on-site septic system is acceptable for the event center and existing dwelling until city services or city sewer is available. Prior to the recordation of the plat, the City Commission must approve a development agreement identifying future improvements to 62nd Street Southeast along the property's western boundary. Part of that right-of-way is included in the plat, and an interim use of the private septic system until the public sanitary sewer becomes available. The applicants are aware of this development agreement and actually have signed the agreement. It has been submitted. The agreement will be submitted to the City Commission along with the final plat. The property has been identified as neighborhood mixed use in our future land use plan. The proposed zoning district would conform to the character of this use district. The project area is adjacent to undeveloped land to the north across East Main Avenue. A hotel and residential uses are to the east. Undeveloped land is located to the south, and there are industrial uses to the west. You considered this request, the preliminary plat and zoning map amendment, at your meeting on April 22nd and called for a public hearing. A notice was published in the Tribune on June 11th and 18th, and 22 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on June 12th. Also, we placed a sign on the property on June 8th. To my knowledge, we have not received any inquiries or written comments for this request. The proposed zoning map amendment and major subdivision final plat were evaluated according to the standards contained within the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Court of Ordinances, and state law. And as a result of all the findings contained in the staff report, staff find that the proposed minor subdivision plat would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and are consistent with the comprehensive plan, Code of Ordinances, and state law. Staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the A Agricultural and CX Commercial Zoning Districts to the CG Commercial Zoning District and major subdivision final plat for Berg Acres Edition with the following condition: that the development agreement identifying future improvements to 62nd Street Southeast along the western boundary of the plat and interim use of the private septic system until a sanitary sewer service, that's 3, becomes available and is approved by the city commission prior to recording the plat. Do you have questions?
Commissioners, questions for Jenny? Thank you for that sign out there. I went out to look at the property.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out where I was at, and I think I drove by the sign a couple of times, and then all of a sudden I spotted it.
That's great.
And so I knew where I was.
Awesome. Great.
So,
Thank you.
Again, commissioners, any questions? I'm not seeing you here, Jenny. Thank you. With that, this is a public hearing for this agenda item. I will open the public hearing and ask that either the requester or a representative step to the podium.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tom Weigel. I'm with Moore Engineering, here to represent the project. Jenny did a wonderful job giving a summary to you about the project. I don't really have anything else to add about it other than stand for questions.
Commissioners, do you have questions for Tom? Commissioner Johnson?
Could you describe the 62nd Street South would be improved? Is that right as part of this, or to the west of the property? Or that would be the access?
Yes, that will be the access road, and have the dedicated easement along there. It's really intended for future development, I believe, south of this property. If that were to happen, that would be the access road.
And does that avoid the existing building and the shed that's there? It seems very close to it.
Yes, it does.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioners, additional questions? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Tom. I think we're good to go. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing anybody, so with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, this is a request for a zoning map amendment and a major subdivision final plat. Staff is recommending approval for both. Jenny, any final comments?
No, thank you for asking.
All right, thank you. So with that, Commissioners, I ask, what are your wishes?
Make a motion to approve with conditions as stated.
Okay, just a moment. Jenny, does that existing condition remain, or is it gone since it was signed off on?
Chair Schwartz, Commissioners, the condition outlined in your staff report is no longer necessary, so the one that I explained at the podium regarding the development agreement would be the condition that we're looking for.
Would you explain that one more time, please?
Absolutely. That the development agreement identifying future improvements to 62nd Street Southeast along the western property boundary and interim use of a private septic system until public sanitary sewer becomes available is approved by the City Commission and prior to recordation of the plat.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sivak, would you care to modify your motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve with the conditions outlined by Jenny. Okay, thank you.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Johnson. With that, Commissioners, any additional discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Sivak?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Shell?
Yes.
Chair Schwartz?
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we move on to item D in our regular agenda, which is part of Meadow Valley Edition and part of the replat of Lot 1, Block 2, Meadow Valley Edition. And I believe Isaac is going to give us staff report this evening.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, or I guess good evening, Chair Schwartz and Commissioners. For this next regular agenda item, Colliers Engineering are requesting approval of a special use permit for a drive-through in conjunction with a financial institution on part of Meadow Valley Edition and part of the replat of Lot 1, Block 2 of Meadow Valley Addition. As you can see on the screens before you, this is located in central Bismarck on the south side of East Bismarck Expressway between Bozeman and South 7th Street. This area might look familiar to you. This came before you as a replat request last month at your May 27th meeting, and where you recommended approval of a subdivision that would turn this existing one parcel into a 2-lot in 1 block subdivision. That's just some background information for you all. As you may remember, that replat has not yet been approved by the City Commission or recorded, but when that is approved or recorded, this particular request would be for a special use permit for a bank on the eastern of the 2 lots. Again, just as some background info. The applicant was aware of this as they were applying, so they correctly noted the existing legal description in their application. The property is located entirely within a CG commercial zoning district, which is not being requested to change at this time. Adjacent land uses including retail and services to the east, single-family residential to the south, multifamily residential to the west, and the Kirkwood Mall to the north. The plat is identified as destination mixed use in the future land use plan. As far as public engagement goes, the public was notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on June 11th and 18th, and 45 postcards were mailed to owners of nearby properties on June 12th, 2026, and additionally, a physical sign providing information to the public for the hearing was placed in a publicly accessible spot at the project location on June 8th. Staff did receive one inquiry on this request, asking some additional questions, but to my knowledge, staff have not received any formal written comments prior to this hearing. Therefore, as a cumulative result of all the findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed special use permit for a drive-through in conjunction with a financial institution would not adversely impact public health, safety, and general well-being, and that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the special use permit for a drive-through in conjunction with a financial institution on the previously described part of Meadow Valley Addition and part of the replat of Lot 1, Block 2, Meadow Valley Addition. And before I ask if you have any questions for me, I will just note that I believe the applicant is online as well if there are questions that I am not able to answer. And with that, I ask if you have any questions.
Very good, Isaac. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Isaac? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Isaac.
All right, thank you.
So thank you. With that, this is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing and ask that either the requester or a representative speak to the agenda item.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Smith. I'm over here in the great state of Michigan. So I wanted to thank you for allowing us to join virtually. Saved us a couple days trip out there. But I don't have much to add to what Isaac had to say. We are requesting it's a drive-up ATM. It is not a teller. And it is because it's a special use permit. We're here tonight. So I'm here if you have any questions.
Commissioners, questions for Jennifer? Jennifer, I'm not seeing or hearing any. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item. And I am not seeing or hearing anybody stepping up to the podium. So with that, I am going to close the public hearing. Isaac, any additional comments?
Not at this time, Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, this is a request for a special use permit. Staff recommendation is to approve. What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Sivak. Any additional discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Swanson.
Yeah, so this might be a question for Isaac. I know, like, during the last month's meeting, we split the parcel. I guess I'm just curious about that other piece. I know it's kind of just an open parking lot. Like, is this affected by that, or will that need a special use permit? I guess I'm just curious about the next piece of the property.
Yes, so Commissioner Swanson, Chair Schwartz, and Commissioners, any other use on the property, particularly when the replat is finalized and recorded, would be unaffected by this particular special use permit. If there was some other use that would require a special use permit, for example, they would need to apply for one as well. But these would be considered as separate entities, I guess. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Swanson?
Thank you.
I think it was more of curiosity.
Thank you, Commissioner Swanson. Thank you, Isaac. With that, additional questions, commissioners, or discussion? I'm not seeing or hearing any. With that, again, it is a request for a special use permit. Staff's recommendation is to approve. I think we've got a motion and a second on the table. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Shell,
Yes.
Seevac,
Yes.
Taylor,
He is no longer present.
oh, did we? We don't have a quorum without her.
We'll get the meeting started with a quorum, we're okay.
Okay,
But,
okay,
yeah.
sorry. Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Seevac,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we move on to item number E in our regular agenda, which is Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws. And I believe Daniel is going to help us out on this.
Good evening, Chair, Planning and Zoning Commissioners. This is a continuation from last month, and as you may recall, we'd introduced some bylaws that Chair Schwartz and staff had been working on to govern this board. These are your own rules, and there are a couple of changes that are shown here as a result of our discussion from last month. I'll just go over those. It looks like those changes are more significant than they really are because some things moved around a little bit, but basically the meeting attendance interval of time was changed from 7 regular meetings within one calendar year to 7 regular meetings within a rolling 12-month period. So that would apply even if it's going over December into January. The other change is that the removal of members section really has been broadened to any breach of the bylaws could be subject for a recommendation from this board to the city commission as it's written to remove a member. So previously it was really only for attendance. That's the way it was written, and I think Commissioner Schell had brought up the comment of broadening that. So the attendance section was just moved into a different section, but the content is very similar except for that interval change. We also had some questions that I've sought some advice on from our city attorney. So, the questions related to enforcement of the bylaws. And I think as we had mentioned in the meeting, but I can elaborate a little bit, the bylaws are really just the rules for your board. They are not legal laws. They're really no different than the Rotary Club or a church board having bylaws that just govern internally yourself. So enforcement would really be extended only to what the bylaws themselves showed, which is removal, which would be the most extreme case of enforcement. So that said, some of the sections of the bylaws do mirror actual laws. The conflict of interest section, the language very much mirrors North Dakota Century Code 44-0422, which is relating to conflict of interest of any elected or appointed board member. And so the question would be, how would that be enforced? So the North Dakota Ethics Commission does not have jurisdiction over this advisory board. They would handle a state complaint of a conflict of interest, not one on this board. The city does have its own ethics commission as well. However, that only really pertains to employees, so that doesn't apply here as well. So really the enforcement would be, first of all, from the bylaws perspective, removal. There could potentially be legal implications because it is a law that the conflict of interest is. So but that would have to be done through the courts like any other laws, but there's not really a body that's set up to practice that enforcement. So that's an answer I've received to one of those questions, but I'm here for any other questions you may have or any other additions you'd like to make to the bylaws.
Commissioners, questions for Daniel? Commissioner Schell.
Daniel, regarding the removal of members section, it cites here that the commission could recommend removal of any member of the commission to the president of the board of city commissioners, subject to the authority, et cetera. Would the ETA members need a different, mechanism that if an ETA member of this commission was recommended for removal, it would go before the county commission for then potential removal. Can you maybe just explain what that process would look like and if there'd be an appetite to maybe incorporate a change to that section accordingly?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Chair and Commissioners. To start with the last part first, yes, I think that there would be an appetite, and I think that's a good comment. The way this is set up, because this board is appointed by multiple other boards, the city commission appoints the city members, the county commission appoints the ETA representatives, and each would only have authority over each. So if a city commission appointed seat were to be recommended for removal, that would go to the city commission. So as it's written, it only mentions the city commission, but it probably should, and this is, I think, what you're alluding to, mention the county commission as well. If there were to be a recommendation to remove an ETA member, that would be going to the county commission, and they would make that final decision. So we could make that amendment if you wish.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, additional questions? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Daniel. With that, I guess I would ask for a motion on this particular agenda item.
I would move to approve with the staff direction to make the modification to the removal of members section to add the ETA county commission path for that as appropriate.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Swanson. Any discussion, commissioners? All right. With that, Sarah, I ask you to call roll.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Shell,
Yes.
Seebuck.
Yes.
Did we get Taylor back? Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to other business this evening. And I believe, Daniel, you had some other business for us, correct? Or not? Okay. Fair enough. All right. With that being said, our next regular meeting is scheduled for July 22nd, 2026. And with that, I will adjourn this evening's meeting. And thank you all for your attendance.